maximize the Ballista power, you need at least Ballista Mastery 2. Spread Shot is the staple of Ballista skills, and Ballista Mastery 2 gives you more damage. This stacks with Siege Might, this is why I get this line as next. Now, if you want to deploy them in open field, you are interested in Build Mastery 3 at last, sorry 2, because then you need only 2 hammer hits to lose 10 to 12 supplies. Next milestone is Build Mastery 5. Then you want Supply Mastery 5, because deployed siege will be invulnerable for some time. It is about 2 or 3 seconds. Another combo, very useful in defense, is Build Mastery 5 combined with Supply Mastery 1. Please notice how fast I am able to pick up supplies and build a ballista, even if I get lost most of the time. If enemies are coming fast, place ballista close to the supply and flash build it alone. Why would you ever want to build a ballista? Simply because in my WExp trade setup, Ballista is a very powerful tool dealing massive damage. The damage in Ballista comes mostly from the Spread Shot, and the Spread Shot is the crucial skill for a Ballista. It changes Ballista from a long-range inefficient weapon into a short-range annihilation tool. By the way, you cannot be blinded or stunned when you are on a Ballista, but you can be chilled. Another nifty trick: if you place a blueprint, enemies will focus the blueprint, I mean NPCs, not the player. It helps in attacking a camp. When you are a commander, one day you have a zerg, another you have 1 ballista. 3 of us, 3 enemies and a camp. The Spread Shot was used too early here. I mean, the Spread Shot is most efficient when all the bolts hit 1 target. As you can see, enemy NPCs and players focused the ballista, so our hit points don't really drop. A major advantage of a ballista over an AVO card is the fact that you can jump into a ballista, press a button, jump out of the ballista and fight. Jump into, press a button, jump out and fight. You don't have to sit on a ballista, what is more, it is in most cases not desirable. Right now I would like to draw your attention to the Necromancer and his plague form. Neither blind nor weakness work on me when I am on a ballista. Only a knockback or a pull or something like this would work. T could focus on stomping and Eli focused on reinforcing and supporting us. Mind you, I am not using a superior ballista, this is a normal one with mastery. 4 incoming enemies: Mesmer, 2 elementalists and someone else. They have noticed a ballista and they are using a pattern in which I can't Spread Shot them easily. A Mesmer is trying to bait me into using a ballista and kill all our guards, so I am not using the Spread Shot, instead moving towards him. A Mesmer is not glass, so I can't kill him. I turn around, use Mass Invisibility to drop targets, and move on to a ballista. They lost me and enemies forgot that we have a ballista, so I am able to Spread Shot anything nearby. Menace stomps the first enemy and the battle becomes 2 versus 3. As the elementalist caught by a cone of Spread Shot heals, the other 2 players focus me and they down me quickly. Fortunately, I've got Menace here to back me up. This trick with Mass Invisibility, or Shadow Refuge or Blinding Powder is a very good one. Ballista becomes like a trap over here. Whenever I am off cooldown on a Spread Shot, someone can get downed if I hit. Notice also that while Menace is reviving me, enemies are focusing a ballista because they noticed how dangerous it is. We aren't preferred that much. Here, I used Spread Shot in a bad way. I misjudged enemy movements and the Spread Shot went to waste. Menace downed him in a conventional way and managed to stomp him, so very quickly the battle became 2 versus 2 plus a camp. And in the meantime, a player, a green dot on a radar, is coming over here. A remaining elementalist is fixated on a ballista and kills it eventually, but its purpose was fulfilled. The Mesmer left, leaving him channeling alone, so I flocked him down and we killed him fast. Notice that I was not sitting on a ballista all the time. I was jumping in, doing something, jumping out. This was exactly how a ballista should be used against good enemies, especially using stealth. In the next video, this camp is under attack and I Spread Shot from stealth. 2 players in full hit points disappear in 1 volley. I Mass Invis, blink in, Spread Shot and 2 enemies are downed. I just got there seeing silver swords on a camp. I had no idea what is going on, how many enemies are inside, so my erratic movements. I didn't know that there are only 1 Mesmer and 1 heavy. Menace had more cold blood than I did, so we started executing them with stomps. This video shows an improper way of using a ballista in fight. The beginning. By building a ballista, we forced enemies to come to our positions, and by using Spread Shot, an enemy got downed, which forced the other player not to linger in the camp, but to try to save him. This resulted in 2 enemies being downed quite fast. The ballista isn't placed as well as I would like it to be. I mean, the ballista doesn't have range to many places because there are many obstacles here. The other players need to group enemies for a ballista operator so he is able to fire at the enemies. Ballista has piercing shots, so every enemy on the line of sight will be hit by a single ballista. What keeps ballista from being overpowered is the fact that on the long range, ballista bolts cannot hit anything which moves. This is where the players having pulls, immobilizes and stuns come into play, to prepare a target for a ballista operator. After using a Spread Shot, ballista becomes a long-range assault weapon, but a very inefficient one. I would say ballista is a short-medium range weapon, while arrow card is a long-range weapon. Now notice please, I can't hit anything because of this particular obstacle. Right now it is not much of a problem, they don't have a ballista support, but they don't need it yet. The yet is a keyword here. The goal when you have a ballista is to pull enemies towards the ballista and let the superior firepower do its job. When we are overpowering our opponents, it isn't really needed, but the more enemies come and the more dangerous enemies are, you should always pull towards the ballista so you can get a supreme firepower. What is more, being sufficiently close to a ballista allows you to retreat behind the ballista operator in case enemies will give you a lot of damage and you can't heal. As you can see, at this range I can't really do much. I hit, well, more or less 1 per 3 shots. And the fact that ballista sometimes has problems with using its skill because of some kind of animation glitch doesn't help me, to be honest. Now, ballista isn't useless at long range, that's why I still sit on it. I wouldn't be able to damage that high using my normal mesmer skills, but if the battle would take place near the ballista and enemies were routed, the situation would look a bit differently. I mean, imagine this Spread Shot on those enemies. It would be simply amazing. At this point, there are a bit too many enemies on the front for 2 thieves over there. In the meantime, a necromancer tries to come to kill me or to stop me from operating the ballista. Unfortunately for him, I have Spread Shot reloaded. This is one more thing you should never do. Never stand still near a ballista, even if you don't see anyone nearby, simply because you can get attacked from stealth. Spread Shot is able to deal horrendous damage, especially if you are fighting someone with Ballista Mastery. This is a good moment to show you how much my ballista at this range is useless. A good rule of thumb is, the longer the range to the target and the more possible obstacles in the way, the less useful will be the ballista. If you want to destroy a ballista, you've got 2 options. First, watch the animations and try to dodge towards the ballista from a close range. Second option is to stay at a long range and strafe left or right using the 1200 ranged weapon preferably. Here, I missed the engineer with my Spread Shot. With Spread Shot it's like that. The closer the enemy is, the harder to hit him, the greater the reward if you do. Well, we've managed to stomp this particular engineer, and our time of happy assault is over. So yeah, a ballista. A close-range weapon of mass destruction, which can be used for many purposes. It is often used to destroy siege as well, but I focused on killing people in this movie. Now, one thought. And what would it be if I used superiors, not normal ballista? Leaving you with it. Excel is out.